I'm coming here as a resident and a concerned resident about economic development in the town, considering the Allen Avenue School property. You know, some of those uses I think would be fine, but it needs to stay within the character of where we are in town.
This was a school that, because of a failed override in 2015, the school department chose not to operate from that location anymore. They held on to it until 2017, and they turned it back over to the town. The town had some minimal use up until the COVID outbreak. It began to suffer from a fatigue of a lot of its critical infrastructure systems, but we have since drained the water from the system. We began the process of looking at what the potential reuses for Allen Avenue could be in 2020. We received a $100,000 earmark from Rep. Poirier at the time that she was able to provide to the town to investigate the potential for refurbish and reuse of this building. Some environmental remediation will have to happen at this site. How do we get the highest and best use and value for this particular property? In the current zoning of R20, I do know what that would be. 6 to 8 houses, dependent on what the actual cost of the demolition and the removal of all the debris and the potential remediation of the soil at this location, which we don't think there would potentially be, but we know that there is lead and asbestos in the building. To get the most innovative and potential uses out of this, you have to change the zoning. As long as we do it through the RFP process, the town is in the driver's seat. The town gets to pick. If you were going to build a 15-story apartment building, it definitely would not fit into the fabric of that area. We would say no to that.
You wouldn't do it the way you did the Webster building. We wouldn't just plow it all into a pile and haul it all away. You'd come in, strip the lead and asbestos out, and then do a standard demo.
I think that still runs into the millions of dollars. Webster Mill is any indication, right, of the cost for just removal of debris for the Webster Mill, which was a wood building, primarily some brick. It's $4 million.
Yeah, I just think we should be careful with how we're describing it, because it just doesn't pass the sniff test, right? Like, you've got a contaminated jewelry mill and a school.
I am forced to pay prevailing wage as mandated by the Commonwealth. And that is not the same price that, you know, resident goes and says, hey, I want to tear down X in my yard and do this. They pay a far different price than I pay.
I'm concerned about what I mentioned initially, changing the zoning for all the residents in the area. They didn't buy their homes knowing that this could happen. But the other piece is, without knowing what's going to go in there, I'm concerned about that. And having worked in financial aid and business development throughout my career, and I know having the right zoning is a factor, but a good site for what you want to do is a good site for what you want to do. And if the zoning's not right, then the question is, okay, how easily can it be changed, and what's the time frame?
Right in the middle, in the little heart of like just our little streets and stuff like there is houses, and then boom, there's a little store. It's been there forever. It sells deli meat and grocery goods, and it's beloved. And it's literally was a home that was made into a store, and it's been there forever. I mean, how much longer do we want to sit and wait before there's really not that much more we can do? I don't see what the harm is in changing this.
The option to me that would be best there would be an over 55, 6 buildings, 4 units each, would require a variance to residential, couldn't go in commercial.
Unless you do it through mixed use.
Well, that just sort of takes me to my other point, is like, I feel like knowing that that's coming, like, why would we take this? Like, at least let that play out, and then we know what cards we're dealing with.
My thinking was, like, by going commercial, you're inviting something. The concern is, like, that this is going to become a development that doesn't fit into that area. And the point that I was thinking of that you were maybe alluding to is, like, keeping it residential doesn't necessarily protect it from becoming a development that's outside of the character of that neighborhood, right?
It's just that we should go through that whole process without rezoning it, and then see what we're dealing with.
I make a motion for a favorable recommendation for measure 2026-011, approval to amend zoning bylaw for 290 Allen Ave from a R20 to a C60 to town council.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I am opposed.
Opposed.
John's opposed. All right, so it carries 3-2.